Hey, Kevin Inoue here, Fight Designer LLC, and PewTube and other things. So one of the things, if you want to get into gun wrangling, if you want to get into prop weapons rentals, things go wrong, things need fixing, things jam, things have issues. So amongst the recent things I've had to deal with, one was I rented some props, swords, to a company down in Colorado, and these were some cold steel Napoleonic War sabers that were standing in for Civil War sabers. I hadn't actually rented these out before. I did some cutting practice with them when one of them was still sharp. I played with them a little bit and built them down, but I hadn't used them a whole lot, so they hadn't really been broken in, as it were, and one of them had some issues with getting loose, and so we had a series of back and forth calls a couple times now with that company about, hey, what shims can we put in, or how do we, what do we have your permission to do with these props? And they were really respectful and really good, and they knew their stuff. They were good props people. They built a new box to send it back. They knew how to get a little bit of sheet brass as a spacer to fill in the little wedge when the grip shifted. I think some of it, honestly, was just coming from a really humid place. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, to a really dry place. They're outside of Denver, Colorado. And so wood, when it dries out, tends to compress. When it gets wet, it tends to expand. And so I think some of it might have just been that. But anyway, they put in some shims and it worked fine, and they did good work. And I really appreciated the communication and the respect and the thought they put into that. And it was great. I got those back. They were great. So thank you to them. But another was, I rented a couple of props to a friend up in Seattle working on some movie projects. There was a shell ejecting airsoft gas shotgun, one of the PPS shotguns, and a gas blowback Glock 19, along with a 3D printed double and suppressors that we had to see screwed on. One of the frequent issues that comes with just use of props is threading strips. And so one of the issues we had is this, nice aluminum mock suppressor. The threading is just starting to strip on this, and it sucks. I hate that, but it's not like I can replace that part. This is basically all one piece. If it were just to do it for the shot, you can put in some Loctite, you can put in some plumber's tape, there's other things you can do to tighten it up. But if you want to see it getting screwed on, that's a little bit harder. So I felt bad about that. They had to kind of do some workarounds, and sorry to my buddy who had to work on that. And the shotgun worked fine, apparently, until the very last shot, and then it jammed. So I'm glad they got the shots they needed. And then they sent it back jammed, and I was like, that's fine, I'll deal with it when it comes back. But that's one of the things where if you're an armorer, you need to deal with that on set. They might need more takes. You got to figure it out now as soon as possible. Know your props, figure out what you can do. And if you're a rental house, talk through as best you can over the phone, but sometimes you just got to be like, all right, I'll deal with it when it gets back, but there's nothing else I can do right now. Sorry. And so in this case, he sent it back, and now, interestingly enough, I've done with the APS shotguns. I've taken those apart before. The PPS I hadn't, and there's differences in how they're made, and I couldn't find anything online on how to field strip these things. So I started a little bit late, but here's a quick breakdown on what happened with that shell ejecting shotgun, and the thing just won't go back to eject that round. So I actually couldn't find any tutorials online on how to take these things apart. So already started with there was a hex nut to get the AR grip off. Now this was kind of with a folding AR style stock, so had to then take that off, which of course it helps if you have one of these kind of wrenches that can get in there and undo that. And so now that got me into where I could get yet another hex nut to get this part off the back, different size. So now here we are. So now the next thing is going to be to take these pins out. Just does appear to be pinned and not threaded, to remove the trigger group. So we'll do that next. Here's a good punch. Yeah. Here. All right, so now we got those pins coming out. Bigger one in the back, smaller one in the front. And that should now allow the trigger group to tilt forward and come out. Now, this might be complicated by that shell that's still in there, but anyway, there we go. There's our trigger group. Yeah, looks like you could use a little oil. Good to know. All right, and now we can get back in here, and I should be able to see what's stopping that from being able to move back the rest of the way, hopefully. I'm still not seeing anything obvious anyway. Huh. All right, well, let's keep going, I guess. So there do appear to be, is that a pin or a hex? I think that's a hex in here. Let's find out. So yes, these are going to be easy to lose, but there are some little threaded, not pins, but threaded bolts on both sides here, which is why, unlike with most of them, you can't just pop this stuff out. So let me make sure that I don't lose these and unscrew them with the little hex. Okay, yes, this was a bit of a pain and is a strange one, but unlike on normal ones, there it goes, where you can take the top barrel off once all this is out. Here, this is a separate piece, and on this one, once you get those set screws out from here, then the magazine tube unscrews. And this was a hard one to get going because it's just a hard thing to get any leverage on. And now once that's out, then I think you can unscrew this thing. I'll find out here. Yeah, once the magazine tube is out, now you can put a screwdriver in this hole here and take this out, which means then you can lift this whole carriage assembly forward. So, and now this does come off once you have that screw out. Oh, there's a spring on here. That's good to know. Don't lose that. But this still doesn't come forward. So how do we get this off? Usually there's something you can push in here to get those out. All right, well, I didn't actually still figure out how to get this out, but I don't think I had to. Something fell out when I held it up this way, and I think there must have just been a bit of something jammed in there, and so now it's actually going all the way back just fine. So it's probably just a little loose piece of plastic or metal or something got jammed in there and in the top and was wedged in, preventing it from being able to go all the way to the back, but now it can. So let's see if I can get it back together again. That is always part of the test, isn't it? Just here. And there is this hole on the bottom. I'm not sure what, if anything, goes in there. Nothing was screwed in there before. Wonder if that's what fell out. Whatever was in there. So that now does just pressure fit, which it didn't before. Before we can put the magazine tube back on, we gotta get this guide in here, and this has a hole that lets you just put a screwdriver through the end. Now, again, on a real one, this is a part of the barrel, so it wouldn't have to be screwed in, and it doesn't go together or come apart this way. On the PPS M870, I think also, or is it the APS? I think this is the PPS, the APS M870. Also has a normal style barrel where this is attached to it. This is just spinning though. Uh-oh. Is there a bolt in there this is supposed to attach to? Maybe that's part of the issue. Oh, it's just stripped threads, that's all. And then this goes back in there. Screws in as far as it'll go. And then those set screws here. And then we'll put the trigger group back in, although we'll give it a little silicone oil first. It looks like it needs love. Just slides in. There we go. And then we'll just need to use the mallet to get those pins back in, probably. Might be able to push them in. See if we can narrow one in the front. Oh, yeah, just push it in. And thicker one in the back. There we go. Just give it a little tap there to finish it off. Alright. And now what's next? Let's see. We'll go ahead and, just so I don't lose it, we'll get the magazine follower and cap back on. Start to look like a shotgun again. And out of curiosity, let's see if it's now able to, yep, we are back in business. Now we just gotta get a grip. So we'll start with this adapter here, which is what lets you use that AR style stock and pistol grip. Now, there is a washer on here, so getting that lined up can be a little tricky. Now somewhere I have an actual ratchet set with some hex bits that's perfect for this kind of thing and has the longer extension that I got specifically for doing things like this. But I'm still in that weird state where like half my stuff is still in boxes and I haven't figured out what's in what box. And I found some of these furniture ones that should do the trick. They're just not magnetic bits, so getting things to stay lined up can be a little trickier sometimes. And now this, it's got a little bracket to keep it lined up once it gets in closer. That's about as close as it's going to go, so now the castle nut. Tighten it just a bit with this. No need to overcrank. Alright, there we go. I do like the folding stock when it comes to shipping props. That makes it fit in a smaller box, which was nice. And this has the quick release sling adapter. It has a sling on it. I took that off because it was just catching on things when I was trying to disassemble it. But we are now back in business. Give this a quick test. Oh, safety was on. Now it's off. There we go. So there you go. A quick rundown on what at least might sort of be helpful with some of the PPS shotgun breakdown. I never did figure out how to take the levers out and the cocking handle, the front grip and all that. But I didn't have to. So, you know, I'll figure that out next time. But if anybody has a source, let me know. And again, going back to that stripped aluminum. Aluminum is just a weaker metal. That's part of why we can get away with saying this is a prop and not a weapon. So when you have something, you know, not only is it lighter, which is nice, but it's also softer. So you can make the case to schools, hey, this could never keep an edge. This would not be a viable weapon. It's solely a prop. It's aluminum. But that also means it just doesn't hold up as well. And especially if you've got threaded stuff, those threads are small and they will strip. And so that was true in the barrel of that shotgun as well. So, you know, it's got enough other parts in it. It'll hold together for now. I jammed some stuff in there to kind of like tighten it up. There's some tricks you can use of just like sticking something else in there to tighten it up. Using Loctite is obviously a regular go-to as well. Even just something like some super glue, it'll break free when you need it to probably, but it'll hold it for the time. But it also tends to sometimes drip or go places it shouldn't. Haven't found the best solution. So if anybody out there is a props person and you've got these great ideas of, hey, here's what I do when aluminum threads are stripped, I would love to hear it. But in the meantime, we find the workarounds we can, and it does the job. Yeah, the prop's back out there for now. The suppressor, I don't know. Yeah, I'll still need to figure out some other way to maybe put something else in here that I can then kind of re-tap and die or yeah, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Because I'd hate to just throw the darn thing out just because the threads are a little bit stripped, because it's, you know, it's decent, and it's also a perfect match for a plastic one that I have on this 3D printed. So I do love that I have a matched set of a decent threaded aluminum one you can screw onto a gas blowback, and a cheap plastic one that you can put on a rubber or 3D printed. And this was just a friction fit with some electrical tape over there. So if you need a cheap one to do some stunts with, and a nicer one. But, you know, even the nicer ones, they're aluminum, they strip. So I'd love some feedback on that if anybody has any brilliant ideas. And in the meantime, I'll maybe keep playing around and see what I can figure out. But, you know, until then, that's my share for the day, for the week, for the whatever. We'll see. Kevin Inoue, Fight Designer LLC, and PewTube, the Theatrical Firearms channel, and the Fight Designer YouTube channel as well.